When you hear Hillary Clinton saying what she just said, what goes through your mind?
Well, I know what she said, and it has nothing to do with faulty memory. As you know, I've shown this book to many people. I keep my brains in my pocket, and for years I write down the important things that happened during the day. And this was written down right after we met with Hillary, and so it has nothing to do with a faulty memory. And I'll read to you exactly what the conversation was that I had with Hillary. This is just a couple days after what happened in Benghazi when the bodies came out. I gave Hillary a hug and shook her hand, and she said that we are going to have the filmmaker arrested who was responsible for the death of your son. Now, not only did I write that down, she also told that to other family members, and then about a half hour or 45 minutes later, she went on national TV at the casket ceremony, and she repeated the same untruth. She said, as I recall, rage was directed towards the American embassy as a result of the awful film that we had no part in. Mm-hmm. So she not only lied to the American people, she also lied to myself and to other family members.
What sir, would you like Hillary Clinton to say?
What would cause that? There's
no, I'm asking you, what, sir, would you like Hillary Clinton to say?
Well, I would like really for her to come clean and to tell the truth. I would like to know personally why there was no rescue attempt made. If there had been a rescue attempt, my son would still be alive.
As you step by and you look at all that is transpiring now in the political arena, especially surrounding Gold Star families, and you know, families like you who've made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, what goes through your mind?
Well, I have a lot of empathy for all Gold Star families. I know one family in particular has been in this spotlight recently, and that was Khan. And he was definitely a patriotic American citizen who was also a moderate Muslim. And we need to think about these moderate Muslims who are American citizens. They have the same national security concerns that all of us do. And what we have to realize is that ISIS and other radical terrorist group, they not only kill Jews, Christians, gays, they also kill moderate Muslims who do not agree with their radical jihad and their interpretation of Shiite law. And I'm sure when the election comes out next year, they're going to have to make the decision who should they vote for based upon who will do the best job of defending this country.
Right. That's a fact.
These documents also allegedly stated, quote, there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government. Now, again, I'm telling you this as it's coming out, so, you know. But if it's true, it's obviously extremely serious. And if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
Very well.
I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending, but first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything
Everything I did was admitted. There was no law, no regulations.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of classified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary.
Nothing was marked classified.
There is evidence of tremendous
classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my God.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains.
It was the mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret.
Was it the best choice?
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
With respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information. What difference at this point does it make? 8 of those chains are top
It was not a good choice.
6 of those chains.
I said it was a mistake.
And 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Vote your values. Now you can watch your values too. Let's face it, cable TV is anti-American.
This is what it looks like when a president fails in every way.
You say, well, the Democrats is they're too pure.
Expectations for the upcoming summit with Putin then. I mean, Governor, I remember sitting down with you multiple times leading up to the summit with North Korea, and you seem to be a fan of the president's sort of open negotiations and his tactics leading into that Singapore summit. So why are your expectations any different leading into this Putin summit?
Well, first, I think that him meeting Putin is the right thing. I think we meet with our adversaries. I just don't want us to be too friendly with him like he was with Kim Jong-un, although I supported that summit, and now with Putin. Here's my worry, Sandra. I mean, we got to say to Putin, look, you can't keep messing in American elections and European elections. You got to do something about the annexation.
Nobody believes that. Why did... Bill Richardson, former U.S. ambassador to the UN. Okay, that right there tells you that this guy is an establishment boy. Okay, anything that has to do with the United Nations always has horrible fucking bylaws and things that they do. They're just a horrible outfit. And then to sit there and continue to push this Russian narrative when it's fucking not true. Nobody has proven anything. 4 intel agency, we come to find out, after claiming they had 17, now there's only 4 that remotely even tried to say Russia influenced the election, and meddled in the election, which all 4, Clapper, Comey, McCabe, what was the other one? Oh, there's 4, Brennan, and all of those were Obama heads of those intels. We now know that Obama was behind the spying on Trump. So why would we take those 4 agencies at their word? And it was just what was it? They were pretty damn sure, but they couldn't prove it. That's what that was. And now that it's only 4 agencies, and all 4 of those all lied under oath to Congress about spying on Trump and spying on Americans, now want us to believe that Russia interfered in the 2016 election with bots online and articles. Bullshit. This couldn't be a better book to read, you know, for fiction than anything I've ever seen.
Wake of reports that the president disclosed classified information with the Russian foreign minister and the Russian ambassador, we Democrats are united in believing that the president must make transcripts of those conversations available to the intelligence committees. The president should make full, unedited transcripts available immediately. No ifs, no ands, no buts. If the president may have put national security and our intelligence operations at risk, Congress has the right to know about it. As I believe Senator Tillis implied this morning, if the president felt comfortable sharing this information with the Russians, surely he feels comfortable sharing it with the Congress of the United States of America. I'm pleased that several of our Republican colleagues have also called on the White House to allow Congress to access transcripts of the meeting, but we need more of our Republican colleagues to speak out. This is not normal behavior. This is not how a White House should operate. Firing an FBI director who is investigating the president's campaign, disclosing classified information to a country that wishes us harm and just finished undermining the integrity of our elections. We need our Republican colleagues to join us in standing up, to put country over party, and work with Democrats to get the truth of Director Comey's firing, to protect the integrity of the investigation.
If I wanted America to fail, to follow, not lead, to suffer, not prosper, to despair, not dream, I'd start with energy. I'd cut off America's supply of cheap, abundant energy. I couldn't take it by force, so I'd make Americans feel guilty about using the energy that heats their homes, fuels their cars, runs their businesses, and powers their economy. I'd make cheap energy expensive, so that expensive energy would seem cheap. I would empower unelected bureaucrats to all but outlaw America's most abundant sources of energy. After banning its use in America, I'd make it illegal for American companies to ship it overseas. If I wanted America to fail, I'd use their schools to teach one generation of Americans that their factories and their cars will cause a new ice age, and I'd muster a straight face so I could teach the next generation that they're causing global warming. When it's cold out, I call it climate change instead. I'd imply that America's cities and factories could run on wind power and wishes. I'd teach children how to ignore the hypocrisy of condemning logging, mining, and farming while having roofs over their heads, heat in their homes, and food on their tables. I would never teach children that the free market is the only force in human history to uplift the poor, establish the middle class, and create lasting prosperity. Instead, I demonize prosperity itself so they will not miss what they will never have. If I wanted America to fail, I would create countless new regulations and seldom cancel old ones that would be so complicated that only bureaucrats, lawyers, and lobbyists could understand them. That way small businesses with big ideas wouldn't stand a chance. And I would never have to worry about another Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, or Steve Jobs. I would ridicule as flat earthers those who urge them to lower energy costs by increasing supply. And when the evangelists of common sense try to remind people about the laws of supply and demand, I'd enlist the sympathetic media to drown them out. If I wanted America to fail, I would empower unaccountable bureaucracy seated in a distant capital to bully Americans out of their dreams and their property rights. I'd send federal agents to raid guitar factories for using the wrong kind of wood. I'd force homeowners to tear down their own homes built on their own land. I'd make it almost impossible for farmers to farm, miners to mine, loggers to log, and builders to build. Because I don't believe in free markets, I'd invent false ones. I'd devise fictitious products like carbon credits and trade them in imaginary markets. I'd convince people that this would create jobs and be good for the economy. If I wanted America to fail, for every concern I'd invent a crisis, and for every crisis I'd invent a cause, like shutting down entire industries and killing tens of thousands of jobs in the name of saving spotted owls. And when everyone learned the stunning irony that the owls were victims of their larger cousins and not people, it would already be decades too late. If I wanted America to fail, I'd make it easier to stop commerce than to start it, easier to kill jobs than create them, more fashionable to resent success than to seek it. When industries seek to create jobs, I'd file lawsuits to stop them, and then I'd make taxpayers pay for my lawyers. If I wanted America to fail, I would transform the environmental agenda from a document of conservation to an economic suicide pact. I would concede entire industries to our economic rivals by imposing regulations that cost trillions. I would celebrate those who preach environmental austerity in public while indulging a lavish lifestyle in private. I convince Americans that Europe has it right and that America has it wrong. If I wanted America to fail, I would prey on the goodness and the decency of ordinary Americans. I would only need to convince them that all of this is for the greater good. If I wanted America to fail, I suppose I wouldn't change a thing.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Yeah, nice thing to say, you fucking cunt.
We had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
That was former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton making that infamous comment.
Math, the calculation that nobody talks about, which is, New Jersey's Senator Bob Menendez is a little busy these days. He's not expected to be back here voting. He's in a federal courthouse because he's a criminal defendant in a federal trial. And people should really go and look at the prosecutor's case as laid out this week. It is just stunning. And it went on allegedly for many years. He's corruption. Look at it. We don't have any Democrats talking about this. It's important for a lot of reasons. Important because he represents the Democratic Party. It's important because if you have a 49-49 vote, you got the vice president as a tiebreaker. So he actually affects the calculation on a number of these important votes as well.
If corporations and the ultra wealthy, for example, as Warren Buffett likes to say, if people pay
here's a possible solution for Democrats if you follow her lead. Watch.
If people pay their fair share, if corporations and the ultra wealthy, for example, as Warren Buffett likes to say, if he paid as much as his secretary paid, if we reversed the tax bill but raised our corporate tax rate to 28%, which is not even as high as it was before, right. If we do those two things and also close some of those loopholes, that's $2 trillion right there. If we implement a carbon tax, that's an additional amount of a large amount of revenue that we can have. Just last year, we gave the military a $700 billion budget increase, which they didn't even ask for. What we need to do is reprioritize what we want to accomplish as a nation.
Jesse?
I heard today that she actually has an economics degree. And that's just astounding because it didn't look like someone who was versed in economics talking about that. She was looking at her notes the whole time.
Hey,
talking about how,
what's wrong with that?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but you speak like a linguist, though. I mean, she's just trying to keep it simple for the folks. You're going way over their head. I think what she's saying is, you know, we can pay for free health care if we do this and we do this and we do this. And if we do this, it's going to raise $2 trillion. Well, guess what? It's going to cost $30 trillion for free health care. So she's not even close to paying for it. I mean, I do think she's a nice person and she means well, but I don't think she knows anything about economics. And, you know, I'm impressed that she's asked about it.
Didn't she answer the question?